Hello everyone. This video is about the UVC Act that was passed recently in the Assembly, some key highlights, and the recommendations that were made by the committee. We are just going to have some few points from there, the concerns, of course, and also from UVC Graduates Association. What do we want to do about it, and how can we give back to the alma mater? So we'll just start off with the what the act says as such. So as you know, the act is about granting autonomy to UVCE so that the institution can grow, increase the standards of the learning, and making sure that a mark has been set from UVCE across the globe. As you all know, many of the IITs are already nominated as institutes of eminence from the central government. In the similar line, what we have seen now is the state government has made UVC as institution of state eminence. If you want to know about the complete act, if you want to read about it, we have provided the link here. You can open the link, and there you will be able to see a small glimpse of what the assembly had passed the video, and small couple of LinkedIn notifications from the minister and the committee chairperson, and also an option to download the PDF as such. So we'll provide this link in the YouTube video link also. So if you are interested to read about the entire act, you can feel free to do that. But for others who have a little bit of less time, here are a few of the key highlights. Basically, what we have seen in the a couple of major highlights from the alumni perspective is what we are showcasing it here. So if you see, two eminent persons from the alumni will be part of the board of governors. The chairperson and members of the first board of governors will be nominated by the visitor, that is the governor, and the state government shall recommend that. And also, one of the concerns that the alumni have from past few years has been that there is no evaluation process, whether there are any review, how the college is operating, and etc. So in the act, what they have told is through an independent agency, every 3 years once, there will be this review process on the various parameters. So we are excited about that. And if you want to know the structure, you can see here that the governor was like say titled given as visitor is at the top. Then it is the pro visitor, which will be the Minister of Higher Education. Then there will be the Board of Governors, which will have a chairperson. And then under them will be the director, which is a key role, who will be running the entire show for the new institution. And under the director, there will be a team which will comprise of registrar, finance officer, deans, etc. So as you can see, the board of governors will include academician, industrialists. This is where, like say, two alumni also will be part so that they can share their experience and expertise. So with this, let's move on to the couple of other highlights, mainly about the finance. Maybe the university can maintain a fund in which it can collect the various amounts through various sources and use it accordingly. The university shall also create a corpus fund which will be used for the long-term sustainability. Then there's one other concern which many of the alumni had raised previously, that now if someone wants to donate or contribute in some way to the college, there has to be an approval from the university, then an approval from the state government, etc., etc. But now in the act, it is clearly mentioned that there is no prior approval required unless there is a liability on the state government. So if any alumni wants to, or any corporate wants to contribute, donate, or create an endowment fund, that is more than welcome. What we are hoping is once this structure comes into place, this should be like say one of the key aspects that the authorities and the administration should look into, because many of the alumni and others also will be interested to take this forward. So the financial memorandum says that the committee that had actually that was constituted earlier, they have given a very well planned document. They have given some very good recommendations, and some of the recommendations we will be highlighting in the couple of slides next. They say that for the fiscal action plan for 10 years has been documented, and they also say that the government has actually earmarked in the previous year's budget around 10 crore rupees. Now, an additional 50 crores is what was expected to be done. So now we are hoping that in this year's budget, something of this sort will happen, and there will be some financial allocation made for this institution to start its new journey. That is what we are all hoping for. So from this until now, we spoke about the act. Now we will come to the report as such. The committee which had submitted, there are some key recommendations that we wanted to highlight to all the alumni. So that is why we have it here. The committee recommended that the Bangalore University allocate some additional space at Jnana Bharati so that the college can be expanded, and it should also be mentored by either IIT Madras or IISc. So there was an additional grant of around 500 crores in the due course of 3 to 4 years for improving the infrastructure is what was recommended, so that it might be digital infrastructure, it might be labs, or any other such infrastructure that is required, a basic structure that is required, should be helped or financially aided, supported by the state government. But in the long run, the committee recommends that the dependency on the funds is reduced. That is why they have suggested to adopt a 33-33-33 model of financing by, like say, next 5 to 8 years. How this work is basically one portion of the funding will come from the student fees, the second portion will come from the government funding, and the remaining one will come from the industries, alumni, philanthropists, the research work, the projects taken up by the college faculty. There are any IP related income source that can happen. All this will take up the remaining 33% of the entire financing. So this is one of the key recommendation. And of course, there are many other key recommendations. Some of them includes about increasing the tuition fee, but making sure that the students are not deterred, whoever the eligible students are not deterred. So this and many more other key recommendations we have highlighted. We will be sharing this slide and you can go through that in detail. And there are very good suggestions that the committee has made, which will kind of, once the college starts functioning as an autonomous body, we hope that more such recommendations are taken into consideration. From UVC Graduates Association, we would applaud the committee's effort and dedication in making the detailed report. In spite of the COVID challenge, the committee made sure that the report was submitted on time to the government last time somewhere around July, August. And they also worked to make sure that the report is not just there for the sake of it, but they made sure that the act is passed in the assembly. So we are really thankful to the committee in which Professor Sadgopan was the chairman. We had Sri Muthuram, Sri Prashant Prakash, B.V. Jagdish, Sri Naganand Doraiswamy, and Professor Venugopal K.R. From UEC Graduates Association, we would like to reiterate that we, and as part of the alumni community, will always be there for any positive steps that are taken towards making UEC a better place. The support, whatever is needed, we will be, like say, more than happy to join hands with the committee, the board of governors, and the state government in this matter. So if you are interested to read the complete report, around 110 pages report is there with the complete details, what are all they studied, whom all they have spoke to, etc., etc. We have provided a link here. The same link will be provided in the YouTube link also video. You can scroll down and check out the link. So once you click on that, you will be able to download the entire PDF and you should be able to read the report. So there are few concerns that were raised by the alumni, and even this was raised in the assembly by one of the MLA, Sharad Bachegowda. And what we did thought was it would be better if we also highlight it as part of this presentation. So the 6.2 of the Act states that 75% of the seats will be filled using the CET that is conducted by the state government, and the remaining 25% will be filled based on the IIT JEE conducted at the national level. Of course, the standards, the quality of the students that will be, like say, coming because of this will increase. But at the current state, what many alumni and like say a lot of the feedback that we got was maybe the standards, the quality will not be great at this moment. But once the autonomous status is given completely and the institution is taken to the next stage, what will be a good idea is to take this up maybe 4 to 5 years down the line and not right now. Because of that, even the local candidates, the students from Karnataka, will, like say, miss that opportunity. One of the reasons that UVC was set up by Sir M. Vishweswaraya was that the students from Mysore state were not getting the opportunity, but that is not the case right now. But still, to begin with, we think that the 100% seats should be filled using CET. The second point is the 23.7 of the Act states the chairperson shall hold the office for a term of 4 years, but he or she will continue to hold the office until the successor assumes the office. So this was one more concern raised, saying that that might lead to a lot of inconsistency in going forward. So maybe there has to be some more stricter rules applied right now at the beginning, and make sure that it is fixed, and the concerned authorities will have a look into it. The other point that was raised was 24.5 of the Act says that around the director age limit is set to around 70 years. So, as Mr. Sharad Bachagowda, the MLA, mentioned it in the assembly, saying that we need a person who is younger and dynamic and visionary, who can lay the foundation stone for this at the beginning of the times. So, when we are looking at a far-fetched vision of taking it to the global excellence, we need someone who can actually do that. And what many of the alumni also felt that is, the government should consider this fact and maybe have a younger person and set the age limit to a little bit lesser, reduce the bar. That is what was one of the concerns. So we have mentioned it here. We will see how that goes forward. And of course, the mechanical block related, most of you already know that the building, the labs, workshop were all demolished around 3 to 4 years back itself. And the students are still waiting for the practical labs to be operational in a proper manner. So we have heard the news, we have seen the letter also, that the government has approved the construction of new building worth rupees 85 crores. But the catch here, and the main point to notice, is the money will not be funded by the state government. It has to be internally funded by the Bangalore University. This is not something that like say is out of the box, because this is, the letter clearly mentions, this is in the lines with the request that the Bangalore University had told in its previous letter, saying we will mobilize the required resources. So what the government approval letter says is, in the next budget of the Bangalore University, they will have to set aside a budget of around 29 crores, that is 33% of the entire budget, so that they can call for the tender and start the work. So the question now is, let's say, or the request to the Bangalore universities, the required action needs to be taken as early as possible, so that whatever the students are lacking in the practical knowledge, this can be taken up as early as possible. Now, there are other statistics that we have mentioned in the slides that can be about the current intake statistics, and what is the CET admissions number, and what is the cutoff rank for the general merit at the moment. If you see, the civil engineering and mechanical engineering, electrical engineering is something out of a cause for a lot of concern for many of the alumni. We need to make sure that we get, like say, more better quality students, and for that we are hoping that once the autonomous structure comes into place, lot of effort will be put into that. Now, there are some rough expense details that we have put. These are not actual numbers. We have just put it based on our understanding, our knowledge, and whatever we had the prior information from one of the RTI, and whatever few of the other institutes that we had a look into. And if you see, the expense details per year comes to around 45 crores. And the income based on all the fees, the various of the degrees that the students go in, we get around 15 crores. This again are approximate numbers. As I put, we have put there a star mark for all the calculation purposes only. We have put this. So there is a deficit of around 30 crores if you see. And what we are hoping is, we will have a short meeting with the college authorities and the faculty also in the coming days from UVC Graduates Association, and we expect that they give us the actual numbers, actual data, so that we can present a more truthful information to the people. So we will be doing that. So meanwhile, what is UVCGA doing and what are the next steps? As you know, the major idea from Graduates Association is we want to make sure that the momentum that has been created with autonomous status is taken forward, and we should create a platform to give back to our alma mater. At the moment, around 720 people have registered as members. You can see it in our website. You can see the list of all the names, the branch, batch, etc. Maybe there are some friends whom you have not met for a long time. You might want to check it out there. We request you to register, be part of the UVC Graduates Association. The idea that we have is the more the number of people joining hands, much more things can be achieved. And UVC alumni over the past 100 years now, if we just look at it, it's such a huge number, and we need this volume to come back and make sure that they join hands in giving back to the college. The idea now is we want to set up 3 committees. We discussed it internally, and we discussed it with few senior alumni also. Based on that, we'll be forming 3 committees, which the action item for those 3 committees will be they come up with short-term and long-term suggestions what the UVC Graduates Association and the alumni can be doing, so that this will again be taken up with a coordination committee at the with which will have few executive committee and also the other alumni. It's not that only UEC Graduates Association is wanting to take up this task. We welcome each and every alumni, irrespective of whether you are a member or not, so that you can suggest, you can give ideas and take this forward. So what are the 3 verticals or the committees that will be formed? One is the research and innovation, one is industry and collaboration, and the last one is funding and branding. So for research and innovation, we have such a wide basis of our alumni that it's not to mention it separately, but what can the alumni do so that a research environment is built in the college? This is what this committee will focus on. The second committee is about industry and collaboration. We have some amazing industry leaders, some very high position people in the various companies who can come and suggest what needs to be done so that the standards of UEC grows, the students get an opportunity to work on the cutting edge technology, they are well prepared to just enter the industry, and the flag of UVC in industry and everywhere is like, say, at the top. So this is what the second vertical will do. The third one is of course about the fundraising. It can be short term, long term, what needs to be done, how can we build a faith, how can the alumni made sure that they can trust. Of course, along with us, it will be majorly, the onus will be on the college authorities. As Professor R. Natarajan sir, who was the ex-AICT chairman and the director of IIT Madras, states that alumni are only supporting stakeholders. We are there to just be a supplementary part, but the actual need or actual function has to be done by the internal stakeholders, that will be faculty, the college authorities, the board of governors, the state government, everyone else. But what we say from UEC Graduates Association, yes, we do agree with that point. We want to be the active supporting role. That is what we are mainly focusing on. UVC Graduates Association, from part of that, we think that we need to be ready when someone from the authority, from the college or the government approaches the alumni and says, hey, how can you contribute? How would you like to contribute? We want to do that groundwork and keep ourselves prepared so that when a question rises, the alumni are up to the task. And what we are requesting you is, if you are interested to be part of this initiative, if you have any suggestions or thoughts, or in fact, if you can suggest someone else also whom we can reach out to, please let us know. We will be providing a link in the YouTube video in which you can fill a small form, provide the details, and we will reach out to you. Of course, the major point is from UEC Graduates Association, we again request you to register as a member and be part of this so that we will know whom to reach out, when to reach out. So you will also be getting updates on a regular basis. You will be knowing what are all the things that are going on in the campus as part of the alumni initiative, etc., etc. So with this, we are hoping that UVC Graduates Association and alumni as such will be ready to give back to the college. Of course, that is the first thing, and we are hoping for a bright future for UVC, that in the next 100 years, when the another centenary comes in, there are much more things to be proud about, and the legacy of UVC will continue on. Thank you.